Hey everyone, and welcome back to Rocks Fall, your home for the best reviews, creator interviews, and actual play in the podcasting world. So we're going to get right to the interview, but first, a short message about how you, listener, yes, you right there, can contribute to the show. Would you like to hear your tabletop product or RPG reviewed on this show? Reach out and get in contact. We're always looking for input from creators. Send any material you'd like us to consider reviewing to Rocks Fall, care of Devon Trube, P.O. Box 61162, Reno, Nevada 89506. And, like what you hear, leave us a review wherever you found the show, and feel free to reach out on social media and through email. We can be found at rocksfallcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you had any PDFs you wanted us to look over for potential review, hit us up at rocksfallpod@gmail.com. Again, that is rocksfallpod@gmail.com. Thank you so much and enjoy the interview, everyone. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Rocks Fall. I'm here today with Jordan from The Deck of Many. He's got a new Kickstarter up called The Deck of Many Animated Spells for 5th edition. It is fantastic. I'm very excited about it. Jordan, take it away and let everybody know what I'm talking about.
Hey, Devon. Thanks for having me on Rocks Fall. This is actually our first podcast interview for the Kickstarter, so
I'm
excited. So the Deck of Many Animated Spells is a follow-up to our Kickstarter from last year that launched around the same time, early September, for reference cards for D&D. The original Kickstarter was all about monsters and conditions and NPCs, like the stuff that we thought people would really, get a lot of use out of at the table. And when we were thinking about what our next project would be, the Deck of Many is part of a kind of a group of companies. I mean, it's just the three of us, but it's kind of a group of companies that does different kinds of accessories for different games. And so we do tokens for Magic cards. I don't know if you're familiar with Magic.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it all started. And one of the things that we innovated there was lenticular ones. So they have an animating character on them or a fireball shooting or what have you. And of course, we were trying to think of what our next project should be. And animated spell cards that show the effect really seemed to make a lot of sense for a cool, sort of a cool boutique kind of collector product that you can have to really pimp out your character or your table. It's obviously became very ambitious because we're trying to do everything, do all of the spells. But right now, I think we are at almost at 88,000 American. We funded on the first day, which is great. And we're rounding the bend to completing all of the level 1 spells, which are a bulk of the spells. So it's pretty exciting.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm taking a look at the Kickstarter right now, and you guys, you're killing it. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're really happy with how it's going. We have a lot of really cool animators that we're just meeting from the community that are jumping on board with us. That we're actually just sending tests out to people to see if they can put together what we're looking for, and everyone's been making, like, all the art that's been coming in. I animated the very first spell myself, the Dancing Lights spell, and then I have not animated another one since. And now the bar has been set very high for the quality of these things, so I'm a little nervous about jumping back in again. But from the creative direction side of things, I just love seeing all the new stuff. Like, this is going to be, and I mean, I'm obligated to say this, of course, but it's going to be a pretty cool product. So I'm definitely excited to see what else we can come up with.
Absolutely. And for anybody here who's listening who wants to go check it out, I'll link the Kickstarter in the show notes. So go check that out. It's amazing. So
an easy link, animatedspells.com. That's us. So
animatedspells.com. That's perfect. I will definitely include that. So obviously you guys are fans of tabletop role-playing games. Where did you start out playing the game?
Well, I think, like a lot of folks my age, it was inherited in a way. My cousin, who's about 10 years older than me, we were all gathered at a family gathering. I don't know if it was a funeral or a wedding when I was a kid. I never really kept track of those, but we were all in one place. And I was sitting on the floor, probably at 9, 10, 11 years old, sitting on the floor playing the old original Game Boy. And he came over and he looked at me, and I think he saw a real nerd, and he was looking to unload a bunch of D&D manuals. And so he just sort of dropped the first edition books, or the advanced D&D books anyway. He dropped them in front of me and said that I could have them. And I still have them now. I'm looking at them on my shelf right now. And that's kind of where I got introduced to the idea of this role-playing stuff. To be honest, I did play a lot of D&D for most of my life until 5th edition came out, but I would jump around from everything. I played a little bit of World of Darkness, and particularly Changeling. I don't know if you're familiar with Changeling.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So that one was one of my favorites. Urban fantasy always kind of caught my attention. And then Unknown Armies, that's probably my favorite. Like, I play a lot of D&D because of the accessibility of it now, but of like settings and stuff, Unknown Armies is probably my favorite. It's kind of like a Lovecraftian urban horror kind of game. It has a lot of personality. Magic system is really wonky based on what people are obsessed with. When you become so obsessed with something, you start getting magic powers. It's
no kidding.
A lot of fun. Yeah. It just has a 3rd edition coming out, which I haven't had a chance to check out. But the 2nd edition version is really interesting take. They call it postmodern magic, with the idea that magic had to evolve with the times. So they actually have a spellcaster called the Videomancer who gets charges for their spells by watching their favorite TV shows.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and so and then every spellcaster that has a taboo, so the taboo will make them lose all their charges, and in the case of a Videomancer, it's missing a show, an airing of your show. So you become obsessed with the show so much that you get magical powers from it, and then you lose those powers if you don't watch every airing of it on TV. So it's a really neat kind of thing, and then all of the spells revolve around tropes from TV shows. So it's a really cool system and a really neat setting. And it's at a time when RPGs are starting to try out new things. It was definitely taking a different look at how magic in modern settings can work. So Unknown Armies was like a big thing. And then I didn't do a lot of role playing. I tried to get some games started, and then 5th edition rolled around, and I was never a D&Der, but everything they were saying was like appealing to me, as like they've simplified it down. They've made things easier to, there's no, and like this really shows how long it had been since I played D&D. There were no like classes that were forbidden to certain races. Like that's
definitely.
First edition and advanced D&D and stuff had all of these weird rules, and so I just really got hooked, and then I've been playing since.
That's fantastic. And that's something that I've talked about a little bit with some other folks on the show. Gary Gygax probably would not be a big fan of 5th edition because he was very much into rules, because he started out his career playing games like hardcore tabletop war reenactment, all sorts of crazy rule books and stuff like that, and that was definitely reflected in his first book, or the first
simulation stuff. Yeah,
exactly. And there's rules for everything, and some people could do something and some couldn't do others, and he was very much everything has to be, if you can do it, it has to have a rule attached to it sort of person. And he was not a fan of rules light systems, which there seems to be a ton of lately.
Well, I think rules are the biggest barrier to the hobby in a lot of ways. People are terrified of dungeon mastering, for example, because they think it's super complex, right? But, but with a rules light system where you are making the decisions on what works and what succeeds and what fails, or there's a very simple dice mechanic that's used. Like, I'm a big fan of Dungeon World.
Oh, beautiful game.
Yeah, it's just so neat and tidy. Everything's all on one sheet. You're not worrying about anything, and it encourages you, if you don't know the answer to something, just invent it, right?
Yeah.
And so there's no like dependence on having to know the whole setting, or all the rules about the game are all printed on your sheet, and everything is resolved with a simple 2d6 roll. So, I think as much as Gary Gygax is an important figure in our hobby, his opinions were maybe don't matter as much now, or they've changed, like things have changed, and now the games are evolving to be what people want them to be now.
Exactly.
Right? So,
yeah. It's definitely, his was the old style of thinking when it comes to this, and that, I think that was kind of his way of striking back at folks that said he couldn't participate in other things. So he made it he made the game kind of elitist. You had to have certain skills to be able to play the game.
Yeah, literally a hardcover tome that you have to like haul around places. Like that is such a part of the ritual now too, is collecting the books and having them take up too much space in your home.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much Wizards of the Coast is like bucking against all of that. Like a lot of people never thought they would release digital versions of their books, and now D&D Beyond is kind of really improving the gameplay for a lot of people, I think. So it's amazing. It's
definitely, I think at this point, it's like the game is there. 5th edition is a great game. I think it's a lot about to expand the game, you have to make it more accessible. So a digital format is the next obvious step.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's Wizards of the Coast is impressing me on the regular with their how much they listen to the community and how much they're making sure that this is a game for everybody and not just a few people who have the brain space to memorize a bunch of little pedantic rules, right? So, yeah.
Exactly. So I'm looking through your Kickstarter right now. So there's so many cool pieces of art attached to every single one of these cards. What's it like putting together a Kickstarter like this?
When Deck of Many became a thing, it was a year and a half ago now, I guess. Okay. There was just myself and my colleague Ricardo. He was running the business, the Cartamagigs, which is what makes the tokens for. We were saying we were making tokens for D&D for Magic, pardon me.
Yeah.
And he was asking me. I had just started working. I was doing a bit of illustration. We had been friends for a while, but I started doing some illustrations for him, but also just like stuffing envelopes to mail stuff out. And he asked if there was any other, if I had any ideas. And Wizards of the Coast had just announced their open gaming license. So I said, another accessory that the best products come from people who are making them for themselves. And that's really what I think Deck of Many was or is something that I needed at the table. Like I was tired of flipping through books and doing different things. So a deck of monsters really appealed to me. And so we started that project. We hadn't run a Kickstarter at that point yet, ever. We kind of had backed a few and helped things out. So it was really trial and error. I think the most nerve-wracking part is figuring out how much to get done in advance. Because the premise of Kickstarter is that you are funding a project that doesn't exist yet, but the bar now is that a lot of the product is already done, especially in the gaming field, right?
Oh yeah.
I imagine you've backed a lot of board games and things on Kickstarter.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So when you go and look at a Kickstarter for a board game now, you see like almost pretty much finished product. Like they have a completely ready to go prototype. Maybe the rules aren't exactly right. Maybe not all the art's finished, but as far as like what the game looks like, you kind of have to sell it to that level. So when we were coming up with the animated spells, I was trying to, for me, it was trying to figure out just how many of the spells we wanted to have animated before the Kickstarter even launched, right? And so I think we're about halfway through the cantrips when the Kickstarter launched, and I think that was enough to share. And the animators are coming up with like 10 new cards a week or something like that, or 5 new cards a week. So there's always new stuff to share. But making sure our content already looked cool before the product even existed is like the toughest, I think, balance for especially a small company like ours. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm particularly impressed with the animated Deck of Many Things. I've always been a huge fan of the Deck of Many Things. I have physical copies of pretty much every edition that's ever been released, and this one I'm itching to get a hold of because it is beautiful.
Yeah, we Rico stumbled on Cami on Twitter. She had it was literally just her pinned tweet and that was about her portfolio, and it had this like little witch girl like appearing from underneath a wizard hat and then disappearing again, and it was just animated beautifully. And yeah, we sent her a message and said we want to do an animated deck of many things, and what do you think? And she's just producing some of the most beautiful stuff I've ever seen. Yeah, and then she went on to gain some fame to animate that D&D Beyond like 80s opening that they showed on Critical Role.
Oh, so, no kidding. That was her, huh?
Yeah. So I'm not claiming to know her before she was famous or anything, but it's just kind of lightning striking for us in a way. So that deck is going to be gorgeous when it's done. I'm curious to see how much space it actually takes up, because the plastic cards are a lot thicker than cardboard cards, but yeah, regardless, it's going to be worth it. So
Cami, for those who haven't looked at the Kickstarter yet, Cami is the featured artist for the Deck of Many Things, and I will definitely link her Twitter profile to the show notes.
I can't talk too much about about stuff, but we are working to get her on board on another animated deck. So because the reaction to her stuff has been so strong, so she's great.
Very cool. All right, well, so of the things you can talk about, is there anything else in the works for the Deck of Many?
Well, we have been mostly working within the SRD, the system reference document, the free content that we can use that's straight from the books, because we wanted to build a foundation of items that work directly, like think cards and things that work directly with the game. So all the monsters in our monster decks, for example, are from share the stats with their matching creature in the monster manual.
Gotcha.
But the next kind of, and of course all the spells are from the SRD as well. But our next kind of frontier is coming up with our own custom, like our own IPs.
Nice.
Because we're all artists and writers and creators and things, and we want to be telling our own stories. And I think D&D, the D&D world in particular, is a lot more receptive to other people's ideas. Yeah,
I think so.
Especially since, the example I would use is that I don't tend to run a lot of canned adventures. Like I'm running Curse of Straw now, which is great, but that's the first 5th edition one I've ever run. But I still love those books because they have so many ideas that you can just rip out of them, right? Definitely. Like you want a map of a cathedral, well then there's one in Strahd. You want rules for running a jungle adventure, well that's Tomb of Annihilation as you covered. And so someone creating their own idea, but making sure that it's modular and easy to chop up and use in other games, like that's kind of our goal. And I hope that the D&D audience and our fans, I guess we call them fans, will be receptive to it. So one of the big projects that I can talk about that we're excited to be sending into playtesting, we're going to do an open playtest starting hopefully soon, is a little project called the Deck of Many Humblewood. Humblewood is all based around the art of Alicia Hannigan. She's a Magic the Gathering artist. She's done some D&D art. Are you familiar with the little unicorn bunnies from Tomb of Annihilation?
Yes.
Yeah, so she's the illustrator of the little unicorn bunny,
nice.
The Al Mirage. And that's kind of an indication of the cuteness level of Humblewood. In Humblewood, this first set, you're going to be able to play as birds, like bird people. So she's illustrated this pigeon wizard and a night owl is what we're calling it. It's a night. And like all these other greats, you'll be able to play pigeons and doves and owls and other fowl, chickens, all kinds of different stuff. So it'll be a deck. It'll work very similar to our other decks. It's mostly going to be cards. 30 to 40 cards that'll have NPC stats, unique monsters for this world, like raccoon bandits and fox bandit leaders and that kind of stuff. It'll have location cards. It will have reference material for running encounters in different key locations in the Humblewood, and then there'll also be a booklet. So that'll have all of the character creation content. So new player races, new backgrounds, new feats. But it's all going to be in this little compact kind of box. So the plan is to be is like a little campaign, little bundle of ideas in a box, like campaign ideas in a box. We'll have the booklet will have a campaign that you can run that will get you to from a level 1 to 3 and be very trenched in the Humblewood mythos, I guess. But we'll also be just giving a ton of ideas on how to use the content to make your own, to add bird folk into your game, that kind of thing. So yeah, all the art coming out for that is super adorable. I think by the time you post this up, we'll be able to have a link for the playtest for you. And it's just literally, it's going to be the whole document, so you'll be able to kind of tear it apart and take a look at since it's our first foray into this, we're really trying to make sure that what people get in the final product is what they want. And yeah, I'm very excited to play a pigeon in D&D. Yeah. I'm going to have a New York accent. It's going to be great.
That sounds like a hell of a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it now. Holy cow. Yeah. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's a simple concept, playing as birds, but her art is adorable, and I think and we have a great writer on board to kind of fill out the fluff, and I think it's going to be a really fun product. And if it does well, we have lots of ideas for other animal player character kind of sets in the Humbleworld universe. So it's just really neat working with another artist on an idea that they've had for a long time and helping them develop it and creating it into something where other people can make stories with it. I think that's pretty unique to this kind of business. When you write a book, a person reads a book and then they've sort of lived in the world of the book for a little while, but they don't often get to start just telling their own stories there, right? So
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to tell another role player that, but I think that's just the hobby, right? That's what we're all here for.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the sheer amount of collaboration that's come out of the last few years is just astounding, and it's allowed so many amazing products like this to just come out, and I'm very excited to see where we're going to go next with this whole thing.
Yeah, DM's Guild is like always hopping with great ideas, and then it's just the open license allows people to go their own way as long as they're willing to work within the rules. And I mean, it's kept me employed for a long time now, so I'm not going to complain. They definitely have set up an environment that creates the needed space, what you need to actually create new things for the game without having to worry about getting a license and all this kind of stuff. It's very smart on their part. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Jeez. All right. Well, I'm very excited for all of that. It sounds amazing. Everybody go check out the Kickstarter for the Deck of Many. And for folks who are looking into maybe finding more about all of you guys, where can they find you?
The deckofmany.com is your source for everything Deck of Many. Even if you go through there, you will see plenty of links to the Kickstarter. There's 18 days left as of this recording, so lots of time to back. We also tend to spoil a lot of our stuff on our Twitter. So if you go over to our Twitter, which is also the Deck of Many on Twitter, you'll be able to find more stuff there. We do... if you'd like to see me running D&D games, we do have our own Twitch channel as well. It's still burgeoning, but every other Monday I have a Planescape campaign that I run on there, which is a lot of fun. And we're definitely planning a Humblewood one-shot or two-shot for soon. So if you want to go check out our Twitch, again, everything's under the Deck of Many. Yeah, and then if you're just personally interested in hearing me talk about D&D longer, you can also head over to Iron and Ice, which is another Twitch channel that I work on. We have a show called Cold Iron. It's a Western-themed D&D game, And we actually have 2 dungeon masters that pair off against each other every other Saturday. One is telling the story of this train that's heading up from civilization into the woods, and the other DM is telling the story of the people who live in the woods who maybe don't want the train there. And it's kind of neat. The stories overlap and interact and stuff. So I'm very excited about that project. The Deck of Many, everywhere on the internet. That's the best place to find us. Or animatedspells.com will link you right to our Kickstarter, which is, of course, our focus right now. You might also see us promoting ourselves on a few YouTube channels around YouTube. Like we sponsor the animated spell book done by Z Bashu, which is also a super, super fun time. So,
well, right on. Everybody go check this stuff out because it's amazing. There's 18 days. I'm going to try to get this thing pushed out as quickly as possible. So there'll be as many days as possible left to back the Kickstarter and go check out all these really cool things that the Deck of Many is doing. And thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me, Devon. Thanks for getting in touch. Hopefully I can come back in a few months and we'll talk about Humblewood or something.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime.
We have plans for all kinds of new stuff. So.
Right on. All right. Well, thank you for coming on, everybody. Thank you for listening, and we will see you later.